السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين وبالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حاميم والقرآن والكتاب المبين. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة مباركة إنا كنا منذرين يفرق كل أمر حكيم. صلوات بيجي محمد وعلى السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is the second majlis in this series of majalis, commemoration of the Shahadat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Muttaqeen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. I recited these verses last night and I began with the same ayat in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this chapter known as Surah Dukhan begins with these abbreviated alphabets Ha, Mim. When you survey the Quran, you find that there are 29 chapters that begin with these huruf-e muqatta'at. And amongst these huruf-e muqatta'at, the abbreviated alphabets, there are certain chapters that begin with only one. Such as you have in Surah Wal-Qalam, it begins with Noon. وَالْقَلَمِ وَمَا يَسْطُرُونَ. Or chapter number 50, Surah Qaf, begins with Qaf. And then you find that there are certain chapters in Quran that begin with a set of huruf muqatta'at that contain two alphabets, such as Surah Dukhan, which begins with Ha, Mim, such as Surah Yasin with Yasin, Taha, and some other examples are there. And then you find some chapters that begin with three alphabets from huruf muqatta'at. For example, the very famous Surah Baqarah, Alif Lam Mim, or Surah Yusuf, Alif Lam Ra, and many such ayat or many such surahs that begin with three. And then you finally come to those surahs which begin with huruf muqatta'at that are contained of four alphabets, such as Alif Lam Mim Ra, and many such examples that are there. And lastly, you find a set of surahs that begin with huruf muqatta'at that contain five alphabets. One of the examples is Surah Maryam, which begins with Kaf, Ya, Ha, Ain, Sad. And this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala situated these huruf muqatta'at. So you won't find a chapter which has 6. It only goes up to 5. Maybe everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does has a wisdom behind it, and keeping it to be 5, there must be some sort of wisdom as well. Could be the fact that this Quran entirely is the qasida of Ahlul Bayt, and going up to 5 alphabets, it's only showing that it is a reflection toward Panjatan. Salawat diji Muhammad wa ala I've been asked to request you to move forward a little bit, get up, and then move a little bit forward, as there are people maybe in the back who are who want to come in with a loud nara salawat. There's a lot of room over here. Behind Majid Bhai right here, there's a lot of room. There we go. Ya Ali. Ahsantum. So we look at this ayat, and I just very quickly, I want to take some few minutes to explain this so that at least we have done justice to this ayat before we move on with the main discussion of the night, obviously pertaining to Maulana Muttaqiyan. But before that, we find that this ayat begins with Hamim, and I explained to whatever extent we have been told in reference to these huruf-e-muqatta'at, these abbreviated letters. But then the ayat right away speaks about wal kitab al-mubin, by this book which is a manifesting book, which is obvious. You know, there was this kalam in the past where they used to say that Quran and Hadith, the difference between the two is that Quran is qat'iyyud sanad, or the qat'iyyus sudur. That means the authenticity of Quran, there's no doubt about it, because it's the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But as far as the implication is concerned, zanniyul, masalan, whatever the meaning that you're trying to extract from it, as far as the sanad of Quran is concerned, nobody will doubt that it is the kalam of Ilahi. It was revealed to the Holy Prophet. There isn't anything extra or less that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed. But as far as the dalil is concerned, dhanniyud dalil, that you can't go ahead and prove too many things when you look at the ayat of Quran. And on the opposite side, you have the ilm of hadith, which mentions that ahadith are dhanniyus sudur or dhanniyus sanad, that you're not so sure about the authenticity of the hadith, but qat'iyyud dalil. But what it explains, it's very clear, it's very obvious. Could be the reason because Quran is not a book of tafsil. It's only a book 600 page long, 6,000 plus ayat, where you have thousands and thousands of pages of ahadith that you have in the rich history of Islam. But this ayat right here proves that phenomena wrong. The Quran is not dhanniyud dalil. When it comes to explanation, Quran is what? Al-Kitab al-Mubin. It's a very clean, manifesting book to prove whatever it is that you're trying to prove with it. So don't label this factor with Quran that it is not, as far as the explanation from this book is concerned. Right after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakah. This ayat is compared to with the ayat of Surah Qadr, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this Quran on the night of Qadr. In Surah Dukhan it says He revealed on the night which is a blessed night. When you look at how Quran is using the word night for the revelation of Quran, there are certain actions that are done at night time. There are certain actions that can be done during the daytime. And they're more fitting to be done on their specific times. Usually things that are done at night time, Quran also talks about it. We just did the tafsir of Surah Naba. وَاللَّيْلِ, that we created, وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا, that we made night for you to be what? Libas. A protection, a cover, something that conceals. So the things that you do are protected, are covered from the eyes of others. And therefore, a lot of these spiritual needs, or if one person wants to attain the spirituality, it has to be done towards the night time. And therefore, it is fitting that Quran was also revealed in the night and not during the day. And when you look at this concept of day and night, certain things, as I said, are done during the daytime. You find that the personality for whom we have gathered here tonight, he has this imtiyaz and distinction that whether he spends the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will go ahead and announce, Al-yawm akmaltu lakum dinakum If it's announcing the wilayat and the imamat, it will be the daytime so that everyone can understand and nobody will have any doubt about it. And when it comes to his sacrifice, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتَغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ, the night when Rasulullah has to do hijrat, Ali will go ahead and sleep that night on the bed of Rasulullah so that he could be protected. Salawat Biji Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. So both aspects of day and night could be found in the life of Amirul Mu'mineen. So when we look at Layl and you look at day, this is called Shab-e Qadr, the night of Qadr. What does the word Qadr mean? Qadr has been explained in various different meanings, in the meaning of power, measurement, destiny, fate, or something which is very tight. And therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, when He speaks about Qadr in Quran, He uses all of these different meanings. Sometimes it is Qadr in the reference of reverence and ranking. Sometimes when it regards to making something tight. For example, when it says فَقَدَرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to test His servant, فَقَدَرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ, He tightens his sustenance. So when the sustenance is tightened, He uses the word Qadr over here. When it says إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ, obviously this Qadr over here does not refer to the same one. It has a different meaning. That means it's the night of power, or it's the night of when things are decided, or it's the night of destiny. So from that you have the concept of Qada and Qadr. Have you heard a great deal about Qada and Qadr? And sometimes there's some misunderstanding as to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed something, and therefore it is bound to happen, and so you and I are forced to do whatever it is that is going to happen. And a lot of people did ijtihad based on this phenomena. They went ahead and said these certain events that took place in the history happened because it was the qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah had decided. And in their reference, they believe السعيد سعيد في بطن أمه والشقي شقي من بطن أمه. That someone who's prosperous, he's prosperous from the womb of the mother. And someone who's shaqi, cold-hearted, he's going to be the same from the womb of the mother. That means what? That means they're saying our destiny has been written, nothing we can do about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed upon us, we must do this. And therefore someone has to do that, job that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for them. So they start blaming Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, if they have committed some sort of crime. And a lot of historical events are now then blamed for that reason. Yazid had to kill Imam Hussein because it was written in his destiny. Na'udhu billah. And they'll go ahead and justify all of this. So this is also referred to as ijtihad for them. And then they say, the famous maqula is, when a person does ijtihad, if they are right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them twice the reward. And if they are wrong, it's still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them the benefit of it. In any case. For example, the marja who does ijtihad, when he deduces the law, if the law is according to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gets the reward twice as much. But if he gave a fatwa which was wrong, he still gets benefit from it. So they take this ijtihad out of context and place it on to the acts of the people that lived before. And they blame qada and qadar upon it. That this was something which was meant to happen. No, that is not the case. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot fathom the knowledge that He has. He has given you free will. He has given you the right to choose. But with that right that He has given you, He has knowledge which one are you going to choose. That's what qada and qadar means. Salawat bheji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So as I emphasized a great deal last night, and this will be the last of the discussions in that reference, that these nights are very important nights. While we are commemorating the Shahadat of the greatest personality that ever lived, And I will prove that through the rawayat from Rasulullah. That is Imam afdal than Anbiya. There's a big discussion in that reference. Inshallah, we'll get to that as well. And we'll have proof as to what the madhab, what is the belief of madhab tashayyu in that reference. But before I get to all of that, these nights, tomorrow night and the night after Layali al-Qadr, don't take them for granted. They come once a year, and make sure that we're able to utilize them properly. I mentioned a few things yesterday, and this will be the conclusion of that discussion. That the Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and he narrated from Hazrat Musa, which he's telling us that if you take something from someone, go ahead and give credit to them. You know, Rasulullah does not need to quote anyone. But still he shows the fact that, look, this is coming from Moses, this is coming from Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, I will quote him so that he gets the credit for what he quoted, what he narrated. He said, Qala Musa, Ilahi uridu qurbaka. Hazrat Musa said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Oh Allah, I want your closeness, your proximity. Allah responded by saying, Qurbi liman istayqadha laylat al-qadr. My proximity is for someone who remains vigil, who remains up on the night of Qadr doing ibadat. So you will have this opportunity. Make sure that you rest during the daytime so that you're able to spend the entire night awake doing ibadat. And even if you're not, just being in the mahal and the environment in the spiritual gathering in a masjid, that itself is ibadat. A lot of time when people go to Haram or to Makkah and Medina, and when they're doing tawaf, they say, Maulana, what should we recite? What is the dua? So you don't have to recite any dua. You just stare at Kaaba, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Baytullah, that itself is an ibadat. And you just walk around it, just looking at it. That itself is ibadat. Not only that, you look at your walidain with rahmat, that is also considered to be ibadat. And that's why Rasulullah also said, looking at the face of Ali ibn Abi Talib is amongst the ibadat. So Hazrat Musa said, I want your qurb. Allah responded by saying, Qurbi liman istayqadha fi laylatil qadr. Or laylatul qadr. My proximity is for the one who remains up on the night of Qadr. He said, Qala ilahi uridu rahmataka. Oh Allah, I want your mercy. Allah responded, Rahmati liman rahim al-masakina laylatul qadr. My rahmat is for someone who shows mercy to the destitute and masakin, especially on the night of Qadr. He said, Ilahi uridu jawaz ala sirat. Oh Allah, I want to be able to pass over this sirat on the day of judgment. He said, Dhalika liman tasaddaqa bi sadaqatin laylatul qadr. If you want to be able to pass over the sirat, that can only be attained, according to this riwayat, for the one who gives sadaqah on the night of Qadr. The one who spends and gives away from him for himself, especially on the night of Qadr. A lot of time we're looking for opportunity where to spend. Allah has given so much to some individuals, they don't know where to spend it properly. While there's so many things that are knocking in front of them, that go ahead and invest over here. They'll have their broker and they'll have their accountant asking, where should I invest? I'm sitting here, right here on this mimbar, and I'm telling you where to invest tonight. Make this investment. And by God, promise, come grab my gireban on the day of judgment if you don't get the return back in multitude. Invest. This is where you have the opportunity in front of you. I mentioned it in one of the speeches that a lot of time you have difficult time given while you're, in your lifetime. Because you're worried, if I give tomorrow, I'll be able to provide for my family. But at least when you are making this wasiyat, make sure that you're able to stipulate in it, if you have the opportunity, and if Allah gives you the tawfiq, that 1/3 which you have the ability to stipulate however you want to spend, because the 2/3 has already been decided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have the tawfiq, give this 1/3 in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether it's for a house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's for other projects related to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and now you have the opportunity that this masjid is expanding, and that could be one of the means that if you can't do it immediately, you can leave it in your wasiyat, that my wasiyat is that after I leave this world, that 1/3 which I have complete authority over, I go ahead and dedicate that one to, for example, the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you will not be doing any harm towards your kids, because that 2/3 which reaches the children, that is already stipulated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't touch that part. That part has already been decided. This is that 1/3 which you have absolute authority over. So see if you have the opportunity, see if you have this tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll tell you that a few individuals have already done that. They have gone ahead, when I was preparing their will, they have already gave 1/3 for this masjid right here as far as their wasiyat and their will is concerned. Salawat Beji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So if you want to be able to pass over Sirat on the day of judgment, he said, go ahead and do sadaqah, especially on the night of Qadr, and that is the way you'll be able to pass over without any lapses. He says, oh Allah, uridu min ashjar al-jannati wa thimariha. I want the trees and the fruits from the paradise. He said, dhalika liman sabbaha tasbihatan fi laylatil qadr. A lot of people question, why do we do that tasbih? Astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, and all of these tasabih that we do. This is the reason. He said, if you want trees in paradise, and if you want to taste the fruits of paradise, whoever does the tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be able to benefit from that. Qala ilahi uridu nijat minan nar. Oh Allah, I want to have salvation from the hellfire. He responded by saying, dhalika liman istaghfara fi laylatil qadr. That najat can be attained for the one who does istighfar on the night of Qadr. And lastly, he said, Ilahi, uridu ridaka. Oh Allah, I want nothing but your satisfaction. He said, Ridai, liman salla rak'atayn fi laylatil qadr. My ridayat and my satisfaction is for the person who performs 2 rakat namaz on the night of Qadr. Salawat Beji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The individual for whom we have gathered here tonight, who, while we are talking about Qur'an Samit, the silent Qur'an, he possesses the title of Qur'an Natiq. And he is someone who possesses karamat and possesses miracles that the books of history are filled with. Just a few things that I want to highlight toward before I get to that discussion of are Imam superior than Anbiya? That we find that so many merits of Amirul Mu'mineen have been mentioned. Which one do you pick from? When it comes to ilm ghaib, what Amirul Mu'mineen had predicted, that came true. When it comes to, the battlefield, the quwwat and the power that he portrayed when they were asking him, "Oh Ali, how were you able to remove that door that from the qal'a of Khaybar?" Ali ibn Abi Talib responded by saying, "Wallahi ma qala'tuhu biquwwatin jismaniyya walakin biquwwatin rabbaniyya." That I did not remove that door with my bodily quwwat. Rather, it was the Rabbani quwwat that had been bestowed upon me by which I was able to remove that door. So therefore we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sides with Ali wherever Ali alayhi salatu wasalam is called upon to do something. When it comes to, as I said, giving news to others, Ali ibn Abi Talib gives the news to his loved ones, such as Maytham Tammar, how and where and what will happen to you for the love that you possess for me. And when a person goes ahead and exchanges secrets from the army of Amir al-Mu'mineen and takes him to the army of Amir al-Sham, Amir al-Mu'mineen makes dua against him for his aql, fakhulata. It says that person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took this aql away from that individual. And when Ali ibn Abi Talib made dua against him, he said, in kunta kadhiban, because that man, his name was Bisar ibn Abi Artat. He came to Imam Ali. He said, he was pleading that, no, I did not do anything of that sort. Imam said, in kunta kadhiban, fa'amallahu basaraka. If you are lying, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take your eyesight away. It is mentioned that after a week had only passed by, that person went blind. So when it comes to these miracles, these karamat, whether it is for the benefit of individuals or whether it is those who are the enemies standing in front of Ali, Ali ibn Abi Talib portrayed them. And if that wasn't enough, we see that when it comes to other inkishafat, there was a long time that the grave of Amir al-Mu'mineen was not known to people. This Najaf that we visit, this did not appear for quite some time. You would imagine, you would say, how is it possible? We only heard that the grave of, Bibi Fatimatu Zahra salamullahi alayha is something which is hidden. But why would the grave of Ali be hidden from people? It was up until the time of Harun al-Rashid, that the time of 7th Imam, that the grave of Amir al-Mu'mineen was not discovered. And it was only when Harun had gone hunting and he sent his dogs to go ahead and pick up these deer and other animals that they had hunted. When the deer had climbed over the hill, the dogs refrained from going there. He said, go check it out. Why are the dogs not going after these animals? Why are they refraining from climbing the hill? Only to find out that there's an awliya Allah who's buried over here, and out of respect the dogs are staying away from it. And only then someone had told them, who was the person who lived close by, that this is the grave of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Muttaqeen, Yasubuddin, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And lastly, the discussion that I wanted to shed more light on is the question that is sometimes raised as to how is it possible that you guys, you Shias, go to the extent that you elevate your Ma'asumeen even above Anbiya. And there was in Pakistan, there was a TV show where one of our ulama went, and maybe out of taqiyya or out of whatever, they ended up saying, no, our belief is not that we don't consider our Imams, Imam Masumeen, to be above Anbiya. Well, I'll give him benefit of the doubt because there are some aqwal of some, elder scholars from the time of Allama Hilli, from the time of Shaykh Tusi, from the time of Shaykh Mufid. And that they conclude 3 different aqwal in this reference. First qawl, which is the mashhur and the popular qawl, it says, Innal a'immata min ali Muhammad afdal min sa'ir man taqaddama min ar-rusul wal anbiya siwa nabiyyuna Muhammad. That our a'imma are afdal than all of the anbiya from before except our Prophet Muhammad. That's one qawl, which is the popular qawl. Number 2, they say, Annahum afdalu min jameel anbiya siwa ulil azm, that they are superior and have fadilat over all the anbiya except those who are the ulul azm anbiya, such as Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, and Isa, and we already said Prophet Muhammad is there. And the last qawl is that anna al-anbiya kulluhum afdal min sa'ir al-aimma, that yes, anbiya are superior to ma'asumeen. This is the third qawl. But as I said, the first qawl is the one which is mashhur. So maybe that alim who went online and in that argument where he did not have anything to say, he chose the third qawl, which does exist, and obviously it may not be popular, but to get his neck out of the way, maybe he used that. But nonetheless, why this first qawl is popular? What is the grounds of that? What is the basis of that? Tomorrow someone asks you this question, you should be able to equip yourself to go ahead and respond to them. There are some very obvious answers to it. For example, the first opinion, which is the most popular amongst the Imamiya scholars, they quote the tradition to support this from Shaykh Saduq, that Rasulullah said, "Ma khalaqallahu khalaqan afdala minni." Allah did not create anyone more superior to me. That means Rasulullah is saying this about himself, that nobody is above me, that I am the one who has the maximum fadilat. وَلَا أَكْرَمَ عَلَيْهِ مِنِّي وَقَالَ عَلِيٌّ فَقُلْتُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. That Ali said to Rasulullah, فَأَنْتَ أَفْضَلْ أَمْ جِبْرَائِيل. O Rasulullah, are you superior than Jibreel as well? He said, Ya Ali, inna Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala faddala anbiya'ahul mursaleen ala malaikatul muqarrabin. This question could be for our education. Doesn't mean that Ali does not know the answer. This is for our education. Rasulullah responded by saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all of the anbiya and gave them fadilat over all the malaikatul muqarrabin. وَفَضَّلَنِي عَلَى جَمِيعِ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالْمُرْسَلِينَ, and gave me fadilat over all of the anbiya and mursaleen. And this is where he said, وَالْفَضْلُ بَعْدِي لَكَ يَا عَلِي وَلِلْأَئِمَّةِكَ مِنْ بَعْدِكَ. And the fadilat belongs to you, O Ali, and to the Imams from your dhurriyat right after me, bila fasl, without any gap. Salawat bhi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So that's one tradition. You say, well, it still does not give us that concrete evidence if we are debating with someone who doesn't believe in what Shaykh Saduq is saying, for example. Shaykh Milani, one of the scholars of our time, Sayyid Milani, he gave 4 wujuh in this reference. First wajh that he gives, he says, Mas'alatul musawat bayna Ali wa Rasulillah. The issue of tasawi, that Ali being equal to Ali, Ali being equal to Nabi, proven through that ayat of mubahala. فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْ نَدْعُ أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. He said, nobody calls themselves that I invited my nafs. That means I came. He said, who is speaking tonight? I said, my nafs is speaking tonight. I'm speaking tonight. He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib was seen by Asqaf Azam as being the nafs of Rasulullah. So this nafs of Quran is that he is the nafs, and Rasulullah brings Ali, proving the fact that he is my nafs. And therefore, when you have someone being the nafs of Rasul, and Rasul says that I am afdal than all of the anbiya, then definitely the nafs of Rasul will also be superior to all of the anbiya. That's wajh awwal. He said, wajhu thani tashbihu amirul mu'mineen bil anbiya as-sabiqeen. The shabahat that Amirul Mu'mineen has from all of the previous anbiya. What does that mean? The famous tradition which says, Man arada an yanzura Adama fi ilmihi wa ila Nuh fi hikmatihi wa ila Ibrahim fi hilmihi. If a person wants to see Adam alayhi salatu wassalam and his knowledge, Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam with his wisdom, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam with his forbearance, فَلْيَنْظُرْ إِلَى وَجْهِ Ali ibn Abi Talib. Then look no further. Look at the face of Ali ibn Abi Talib and you will find all of these shabahat put in one individual. So that's the second wajh. Why? That he has the shabahat with all of the anbiya. Number three, which he mentions, is very interesting one. He says, كَوْنُ عَلِيٍّ أَحَبُّ الْخَلْقِ إِلَى اللَّهِ مُطْلَقًا. That Ali ibn Abi Talib is the most beloved creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and mutlaqan word is used absolutely. And he quotes a story. He said there was a time, Anas ibn Malik, one of the servants of Rasulullah, he narrates this story. He said one day, farkhun mashwi, which is, you can maybe translate this as grilled chicken or some meat was brought to Rasulullah. It was sent to Rasulullah. And this was not a common thing that this sort of food would come. So when this sort of food was brought for Rasulullah, Rasulullah made this dua, Allahumma itini bi ahabbi khalqika ilayk ya'kulu ma'i hadha at-tayr. Oh Allah, send me your best and your most favorite creation who would come and join me in eating this food. This is where Anas says, when I heard this, I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma ja'alhu rajulan min al-ansar. Allah, make that to be a person from Ansar. And while I was making this dua, Ali ibn Abi Talib knocked on the door. When Ali knocked on the door, this person, Anas, said, I told Rasulullah is busy, come back another time. Ali left. Then Ali came back again. He made the dua, oh Allah, make sure, send someone from Ansar, from my own. Then after a while, nobody showed up, but Ali came back again. Anas then turned him down, saying that Rasulullah is busy. He went back. And for the third time, when Ali came back, Rasulullah said, who's on the door? He said, that's Ali. He said, let him in. Let him come in. And then he said, Ma habasaka ya Ali. What held you back, O Ali? Because I had made dua from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, send your best creation to come and eat this meat with me. Ma habasaka ya Ali. What held you back, O Ali? Ka inna hadhihi akhiru thalath karrat yarudduni Anas. That I knocked on the door 3 times and Anas turned me down. All 3 of those times, yuzamu annaka ala haja, saying that you were busy with something. Rasulullah turned around and said to Anas, Ma hamalaka ma sana'ta. What's wrong with you that you did such a thing? Faqultu ya Rasulullah. When I heard you made the dua that, oh Allah, send the best of the creation to come and enjoy this meat with me, I said, oh Allah, send someone from my clan, that someone who would be the most beloved in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah responded by saying, this Ali is the most beloved in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why he was sent. So this is the third wajh. I don't know if you're keeping count of it. The first was musawat between nafs and anfusana wa anfus. Second was the tashbih of Ali with Sa'irul Anbiya, all of the Anbiya. Third is the story of Anas ibn Malik, where Rasulullah makes this dua, oh Allah, send the best of your khilqat, and Ali came knocking on the door. And lastly, now usually you have seen this as well growing up, in the societies where you are always visiting Imam Bargas and Majalis, and you're visiting the masajid, and you make this, to be your habit to go ahead and be part of namaz jamaat. I'm sure you've seen that whenever there's a senior alim who comes, usually the junior alim steps back and lets the senior alim go ahead and lead the prayers. Except when my dad comes, because he prays sitting down, so I don't give him the way. And also, I'm being the Imam Ratib over here, but usually when it's the case, when for example, a marja comes to our masjid one day and he's visiting, don't expect me to be leading the prayer when it's time for the salat. Although that marja will say, no, you're Imam Ratib, you should lead. That will be his first thing for me, there's a recommendation. But out of respect, I'll pull back and I'll let that, great alim-e-din go ahead and lead. What does that show you? That shows you that's not just respect. I believe that person has more knowledge than me. And the more knowledgeable should go ahead and stand. And the person who has more fadilat than me should go ahead and stand in this mihrab. And I should be standing behind. Isn't that the case? When that is the case, the fourth wajh which is mentioned over here is Salatu Isa ibn Maryam khalf al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala sharif. Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When the grandson of Amirul Mu'mineen, when he reappears, who's from the Aimma, remember he said, oh Ali, you and your progeny, Aimma and your progeny are all afdal than Anbiya. When I just gave you that example, when the time will come for Imam to reappear and the famous salat that he will lead what was mentioned that Hazrat Isa, who's amongst the Ulul Azm Nabi, who will stand behind Imam instead of standing in front of him. It should have been the case that Imam would say, oh, Isa ibn Maryam, you are Ulul Azm Nabi, you are superior to me, you should go ahead and pray. But this is where Hazrat Isa would say, no, you have superiority over me, and I will stand behind you and I will pray. Thus these four wujuhat mention very clearly why the Shia believe that Masumin, Imam Masumin, have fadilat over all of the Anbiya. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So this is Ali ibn Abi Talib. When you look at his shaja'at, you don't find anyone nadir of Ali. When you look at his ibadat, when a person came to a fourth Imam and he said, how much do you pray? He said, only if you had seen the ibadat of my Jad Ali ibn Abi Talib, you would say that my prayer is nothing compared to how he used to pray. And that's why when a person asked, Rasulullah responded by saying, in reference to the ibadat of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Rasulullah responded by saying, Darbatu aliyin yawm al-khandaq afdalu min ibadat al-thaqalain. That one strike of Ali on the day of Khandaq is superior to the ibadat of Thaqalain, jinn and ins combined together. Let alone the ibadat. When Zarbat of Ali is superior to the ibadat of Thaqalain, just imagine what the ibadat of Ali ibn Abi Talib would be. So that's the Zarbat of Ali on the day of Khandaq, which he delivers. But then on this night of 19th, Ali ibn Abi Talib was on the receiving end of this Zarbat. I was requested to say a few words in Urdu as well, that Ali ibn Abi Talib receives this Zarbat which we spoke about last night. And that Zarbat was something which was predicted from before. That Rasulullah had already mentioned to him, when Ali said that why I did not attain martyrdom in the battle of Badr, in the battle of Uhud. Ali always questioned Rasulullah that how come I did not attain Shahadat? I always asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me Shahadat, how come I never attained it? He said, Ali, there will come a time that you will be martyred in the best of the months, in the best of the days, in the best of the nights, in the best of the places, in the best of the times. Best of the months is the month of Ramadan. Best of the nights is the nights of the Qadr. Best of the places is the place of worship, is Masjid. And that too, the mihrab of Masjid. And in the best of the position, when you will be performing sajda. क्योंकि सजदे को मेराज कहा जाता है नमाज की. क्या अली आपकी शहादत उस वक्त होगी, आपको शहादत का दर्जा मिलेगा बेहतरीन महीने में, बेहतरीन वक्त में, बेहतरीन शब में और बेहतरीन जगह पे और बेहतरीन हालत में. बस अली के सर पे वो ज़रबत लगती है, खून जारी होता है, हसनैन आगे बढ़ते हैं, बाबा को सहारा देते हैं, उठाते हैं. अली की हालत गशी और गैर गशी के दरमियान है. अली जागते हैं, गशी की हालत में आते हैं. बस एक दफ़ा जब हसन के आंसू टपकते हैं, अली की आँख खुलती है, गशी के आलम से बाहर आते हैं, कहते हैं बेटा हसन गिरिया मत करो, अगर तुम देखो मेरे सामने कौन हस्तियां हैं कि जो मेरे इस्तकबाल के लिए आई हैं. बस दोबारा गशी के आलम में जाते हैं. एक दफ़ा आँख खोली तो देखा हुसैन गिरिया कर रहे हैं. अरे कैसे ना करें, बाप का साया सर से उठता नजर आ रहा है. बस देखा, ए हुसैन गिरिया मत करो, ए हुसैन तुम्हारे जद मुझको लेने आए हैं. बस ये कह के हसनैन बाप के लाश, बाप के जिस्म को ले जा रहे थे घर की जानिब. علی کو لے کے جا رہے تھے، گھر لے جانے کے وقت علی نے اپنے اصحاب سے کہا، اے میرے صحابیوں، اے باوفا اصحاب، میرا اور تمہارا ساتھ یہیں تک تھا، ارے اب میرے آگے مت آنا، میرے ہمراہی مت کرنا۔ کہا اے علی، اسبغ ابن لباتا کہتے ہیں کہ ہم کیسے چھوڑ دیں آپ کو اس عالم میں؟ کہا مجھے اپنی پرواہ نہیں، لیکن میں جانتا ہوں کہ علی زادیاں جب سنیں گی باپ کے سر پہ تلوار چلی ہے، ارے اپنا گریہ نہ روک پائیں گی۔ میں نہیں چاہتا کہ ان کے رونے کی آوازیں تمہارے کانوں تک آئیں۔ اجرکم اللہ، خدا کسی غم میں نہ رلائے سوائے غم آل محمد کے۔ آپ نے دیکھا علی کو کتنا خیال ہے زینب اور ام کلثوم کی آوازوں کا۔ علی کربلا تشریف لائیے، زینب اور ام کلثوم کی آوازیں دور، ارے چادریں چھین لی گئی ہیں۔ اجرکم اللہ۔ بس علی گھر پہ آتے ہیں، آخری جملے اور زحمت تمام۔ علی نے کہا مجھ کو میرے محراب میں لے جاؤ، ارے میرے مصلی پہ لے جاؤ۔ مصلی پہ لایا گیا، امیر المؤمنین موجود تھے، اتنے میں بیٹیاں تشریف لائی۔ آپ نے سنا جب بیٹوں نے گریہ کیا علی نے روکا، لیکن جب زینب اور ام کلثوم نے گریہ کیا علی نے نہ روکا۔ شاید یہ بتانا چاہتے ہوں گے، ارے بیٹیوں آمادگی کر لو، ابھی تم کو رونا ہوگا، ارے جب حسن شہید ہوں گے تو گریہ کرو گی اور حسین شہید ہوں گے۔